Welcome to All Play Networks, The First Strike, your Filipino martial arts to people, events, styles, and techniques. I'm your host, Ferdinand Gayoles. Before we start, we would like to thank our sponsors, of course, APN Network and our staff, Moth, RSVP Film Studios, COL, Gcash, Tumandok Handicrafts, and Ella. So I'm your host, Ferdinand Gayoles, and welcome to First Strike and welcome to another episode on techniques. Because here in First Strike, we are sometimes discussing about peoples and events, but for now, we will be more concentrating on techniques. In our past episode, we discussed Pigar, no? Because Pigar is actually a very popular technique in Negros. It is used in short stick fighting, and it is very popular, a very popular and commonly used technique, especially in the Ujido and Tapado practitioners. Now, Pigar is actually fixing the blade or the stick of your opponent at a certain position, and as it is fixed, you try to deliver a powerful blow so that your stick slides and it hits the hands of your opponents. Now, this is a very effective technique since with one technique, you get to defend and hit your opponent at the same time. In techniques like small sticks, this is also very effective, especially when used in law enforcement applications, because it is relatively easy and it is an effective and efficient way of disarming a prospective attacker. Many people like to use Pigar. Of course, what people might ask, oh, how come? What's the big fuss with Pigar? Actually, Pigar is more of a combative technique. It's not very applicable in sports. Of course, it has certain degree applications in sports, but it is more of a combative technique because you don't want to get hit, you don't want to get touched by your opponent. So again, that's Pigar. Anyway, with Pigar, we try to do it again in Ejido. And people are now asking, is Pigar applicable to long stick fighting? Yes, of course, Pigar can be used in long stick fighting. Of course, here you see the video that we're only using small sticks. In this episode, we will show you why Pigar is a universal technique and it can also be used especially in Tapado, wherein the range is longer, the strikes are more powerful. Now, the reason why we made this episode is because the training methods and the approaches to teaching and learning Pigar when using Tapado is different. So we have myself right now as the resource person, and we will now go to our first video, which is an introduction to Pigar as it is used in Tapado.
The pigar and the lagis can also be used in long sticks. Pigar and lagis can be used using only the mats. But when you are already using the long sticks, then please stand up, use the long stick, no? Slowly. Even if there's a mat here, you can no longer stop the force because the stick is heavy. So even with the mat, if it is already using the tapado, it is very possible that you will hurt your hands. That's why we try to find ways to train with the pado. Now, how do we do it? So we just do it slowly. There, palm down. Now just to let him get the principle behind, you let him do it slowly at first. Then we use the sticks slowly. One, two, three. Other side, slowly. One, two, three. Now, if you notice, I'm using the small stick. This is just to guide him. Just to guide him, let his stick slide here and hit the mat. The mat actually represents my hand. So again, go slowly. One. This is for strike number two. Two, three, four. Now, if you notice, he's already using the pigar here. Okay? Now, when we come back, I will show you how to do Pigar and Pangigo. In Tapado, it's no longer Lagis, it's Pangigo. When we come back, we will show you how we train slowly in Tapado so that both practitioners will not get hurt.
So essentially, the essence in Pigar and Tapado is to train carefully and slowly. I want you to notice here that the stick really hits the hand. Now, in this video right now, you can see that he's only using a stick, a small stick, at a very fast manner. But when it is on tapado, they will be using a bigger stick. And it is relatively difficult to control when you are wielding a long stick. And as presented earlier, as matting, even a matting which is about 2 to 3 inches thick won't suffice because once it slides into your hands, the mass of the long stick is just so enormous that there is a very big possibility that the hand of the receiver will be injured. So in Tapado, you should have a different approach, a different style of teaching. So that's why we try to develop ways and means on how to study and how to learn Pigar in Tapado. Because remember, the principles are the same. But there is really a very big danger that if the hand of the learner is hit, his hands will be crushed and it could be permanently damaged. Let us now go to our next video.
One of the most important techniques in Tapado is also the Pigar. In our past episodes, we showed we showed our audience how Pigar and Lagis is used in small sticks. Now some people would ask, is it possible to use Pigar and Lagis with long sticks? As a matter of fact, yes, you can use it. We must never forget that Tapado is an offshoot of Uido. If Pigar and Lagis is used in Uido, many practitioners of Uido who went to Tapado later on retained many of the ideas and the techniques of Uido and they adapted it to Tapado. One of those techniques is what we call staying the same, the Pigar. The only difference is in small sticks we say Pigar and Lagis. But in Tapado, we use it Pigar and Pangigo. Now, the concept of Pigar actually is very complex. It is not easily learned. It's very easy, but it will take some time for you to master because you have to feel it. Now, for example, if I will ask Donald, please fight this time. Now, I am asking Donald to hit me. How do you use Pigar? For example, when I stop, when I want to stop Donald here, I exercise my Pigar or my pushing hands here. Again, don't start. So, you strike up to this point only. Now, if I want Donald, again, don't start. Now, if I want Donald to stop here, I will start exercising my Pigar here. Again, so you choose whether it's here or over there. Again, don't strike. So if you notice, this time I'm stopping here instead of somewhere over there. I can even bring it lower. Again, don't strike. See, like that one. So the choice of where you will exercise Picard is dependent on the one who's using the tapado and the one who masters how to use the Picard. Again, I will show you the different levels wherein I will try to stop his stick. Now, in the first 3 strikes, I will show you that I will stop his strike somewhere over here. Okay, don't strike. So I'll stop it there. Again, 2, again, 3. Then I will use Panigo. So here I decided that I will stop him somewhere here. This time, I will allow his stick to travel here so that I can hit his body. So all I have to do is that I will just decide to exert Picar somewhere in this area. Again, strike dot. There. Again, there. That's one. So if I want to hit him there, I can hit his body. Now, I'm going to show you that I will try to hit his legs. Again, right? So, my Pigar is already somewhere here. Again, so I strike hard and hit him there. I strike hard and hit him there. And that one and hit him there. Now, it looks easy. As a matter of fact, the technique is very effective. But the question is, how do you train for Pigar without injuring yourself and injuring your partner? It is very essential. Now, for example, if we are careless, don't strike, and Donald is not careful, try to hit me here, don't do that. See, if he's not careful, I can just as easily break my hands. Same here. See, if you don't know how to control, you will break your hands or you will break the hands of your opponent. So what do we do? In order to train for Pigar and in order to train full power, we try to move back. Don't move back. There. So Donald is a little bit far from you now. Now if you notice, you measure. Now this is how we measure the stick. When we measure the stick, we make sure that we are far away from each other and only our sticks will come into contact with each other. There, again, down, 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 down. Now, you know if there is a pigar because you will hear two clackings of the stick. Papak, papak, papak. You try to listen. See, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. Don't you try to hit somewhere here lang. Okay? Then you try to hit fast. Okay? This time we will show you full force. No? Donald is going to strike 8 times. Okay? I will count on. Ready? One, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. See? From here, you can even smell the stick. It's like burning. Remember, if you don't have the distance, you might hit your partner. If you hit your partner, you might really injure each other seriously. That is one way to practice with Picard. Okay? So you try to give each other the distance and you can practice full swing, and full swing. Now, it's also possible that you can train by letting your opponent just do one position. Don't just do this. So he's only doing one position. So you do it slowly. There. One, two, three, four. Control must be done because it's very painful. Again, slowly. One, see? I'm hitting his hand. Two, three, four, five. Okay, I'm going to do it a little fast. But don't follow this because I have control. It takes mastery. You try to look at this one. One, two, three, four, five. See, it takes a lot of control. Is it painful or not? Not. No, see, it's not painful. But it has to have a lot of control. For beginners, you can just do this. You strike hard here, you strike hard here, then you try to slide slowly. Strike hard, slowly. Hard, slowly. Now, look at what happens if I do a little step forward. You see, I extend my reach. At first, I'm only hitting his hand. Now, I can strike. See, I can hit his head. There, head. There, head. So that is how dangerous it is to practice tapado without control. When we come back, we will show you how we train with tapado so that you won't get hit and you won't hurt your hands.
Oh, if you notice, that is how dangerous the pad is. I hope you notice, I hope our viewers notice that the strike of the defense and the offense, there's only one strike, and it's automatic. So, what are the essence in our first video? One, there should be distance. If you are not yet well versed with Tapado, try to practice it at a distance. All at a distance, and it will take a lot of patience. Actually, Tapado is like chess. It's very easy. It has only 2 or 3 strikes, and that's it. But the difficult part of Tapado is being able to practice without hurting your partner. So essentially, this is what we're trying to show you now. Actually, it's not much of the technique. It is much more about distance, control, and of course, the slow practice of Tapado until the moves are mastered. Now, for future Tapado, aspiring Tapado practitioners, I would suggest you watch this video again and again until you get the essence of the moves. Very important. Again, I would just reiterate. First is the distance. You can measure it by just touching your sticks and move back. You can hit as much as you can. Fourth is do not step forward. Hit as hard as you can, as many times as you want, but only the sticks have contact. The second approach is to practice it slowly. Block and hit at the same time. What's nice with the doing it slowly is you can get the feel on how to do technique. It's easy to say, just block and slide. It's easy to do that. But what is important is with repetitive and continuous execution of the technique, you get the feel. And maybe after a few days of training of Tapado, find out you're not thinking anymore. And when you strike and you block, it goes straight to the hands. Again, I would just like to reiterate a little step, and instead of hitting the hands, start hitting the shoulder or the head. But then again, of course, a caveat, be very careful. Remember, you are now holding a bigger stick with a greater mass, greater potential to bodily damage. Let us now watch our next video.
The practice of Tapado can be very dangerous and it could be harmful if you don't know how to control. That's why cooperation between the one holding the stick and the one striking is essential. We will show you how dangerous it is if you do not have control. Now Donald will strike my stick, okay? Just focus here, slowly. There. See? It's hitting my hand. Okay, Don? You try to do it faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See? Now,
Yeah.
if you don't know how to control, it
I
is
think
very
that's the
dangerous
bamboo.
to practice Tapado. But first, before we go on telling you or teaching you on how to train with Tapado, Donald will show you how it is done with control. Again, with control, you really have to practice it with a qualified teacher. No, I hope when COVID is done, you come over here with us and we will teach you because this has to be personalized. No, but this is the only way to master Tapado. Now, Donald will show you now how he hits me from different angles. Okay, Don. Here. Okay, 1. Slowly first. 2. You do 5 times. Okay, ready? Go. 2, 3, 4, 5. See, his control is very good. Now I'm going to hit him horizontally. 1 and slide. 2 and slide. Okay, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this time, I'm going to try to hit Donald from this angle. Okay, don't slowly. 1. 1. Okay, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, Master Donald Loro has been practicing Tapado for quite some time already. Now, if you look at me, I don't hit my hands. He has very, very good and excellent control. Now, how did Master Donald practice this? He mastered the use of Pigar by using the dummy stick and control. Now, when you use the dummy stick, which we will introduce later, we will show you how to use the dummy stick. But for now, this is how Master Donald learned to do tapado strikes slowly, done slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dalas dalong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now other side. 1, 2, 3. Look at this control. Very good control. 5. Now even if I stab him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll try to stab him on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if Master Donald doesn't control it, definitely he will crush my hands. Now, I'll just show you his initial strike. Don, please strike hard here. Just stay here and strike hard. Now, don't slide. 1, 2, 3. See? The coffee sticks are already cracking under the force of Master Donald Law. So, with Tapado, you have to practice it slowly, with control, with a partner, and with proper supervision. When we come back, we will introduce you to the Tapado dummy and the Tapado dummy exercises.
So, you see the power of Tapado now. If you look at the screen right now, look at the power of Master Donald Loro. That is actual power, and this time he is exercising it with follow-up. Now I hope we can keep on repeating this thing because this one is the real application of Tapado. Here he is doing full swings, multiple strikes, multiple directions. What he's trying to do here actually is he's trying to drive my stick away. And once he drives my stick away, he sees an opening. That opening will give him a space and he can counter my attacks. So Tapado is a really very dangerous, very dangerous style uh, if you're not careful about practicing it. I would suggest maybe if for those who are interested, for children, maybe you can get smaller sticks, though it should reach the ground and maybe it will be up to the solar plexus. You can use instead of sticks. And definitely when you're practicing tapado, especially with children, they should have gloves. Now, if you notice in my earlier videos there, you can see really the power of the block of Master Donald Doro. That is a full swing, full power strike. No, why not? He doesn't hold when he blocks, but he holds his technique only once he's already trying to hit my hands. Now, while I was discussing it, if you notice, I hope you can replay it later on after our show. Please try to watch our show again and try to be familiar. This is really a very nice technique. But again, practice it slowly, practice it with distance. If you go back to my videos wherein I was discussing, you can see that I was trying to hit him from different directions. And every time I try to hit him, he's really hitting my hands. Now, this is coming from a person who has mastered the technique and who is really very good in control. Actually, when Donald and I, when we try to practice, sometimes we practice for about 30 minutes a day, 15 or 20 minutes a day. Most of our practice is just slow practice. No, slow practice. Usually we start with slow practice. There, I give him strike number one, strike number two, then I give him strike a horizontal strike from both sides, then stop. Now, maybe we can do about 10 repetitions each. And I tell my students, okay, let's not do it fast. Let's do it slow. I just want to see the form. I just want to see the execution. I tell my students, every time you strike, I want you to slowly touch my hand. Now, it is the touching of the hand that will render an opponent inutile, especially when you're fighting. Because once you hit his hand, you will no longer have the capacity to fight. He will no longer have the capacity to strike back. You could just imagine here the strikes of Master Donald. If he strikes your hand full power, like he's doing here, see, look at my body. It's twisting every time he strikes. I'm not overreacting there. You see, if you don't move your body away, the vibration of the strikes are so strong. And there were times before we were training when you could have blisters in your hands. And it's not watery blisters, it's bloody blisters. But that was the older way. And we do not want to teach children or the next generation of Tapadistas and ambassadors that way. Now, for those of you who want to study Tapado, just look at the power. It is very, very hard to block. Now, what is nice with Tapado? One, it has a longer stick. Two, it is good. It is a good weapon for against multiple opponents. So essentially, it has a high home defense or personal defense value. So here again, power, very strong. As a matter of fact, when Master Donald was striking me here, you can already smell the coffee sticks because once the stick hit each other, there's too much friction, there's too much kinetic energy that the heat is transferred on the sticks. You can literally smell the sticks. When we were filming this, you can smell burning wood every time he strikes. Now, look at the vibrations of my hands here. It's striking. Look at the vibrations on my shoulders and my body. See? Now, after you do the distance, what you do next? You block, you strike, and the most important is you do follow up. There is a misconception that the pad is only one strike. No, Pado is block hit at the same time, and you multiple strikes until your opponent is out and down. So never treat the Tapado as a one-strike system. No. Strike and block at the same time, that is where your Pigar and come in pa. That is where your Pigar and your Pag-Igo comes in. Then you do follow-up. How many follow-ups? It depends on you. What is important is you get your opponent's weapon out of the way, you counter, and you follow up until the threat is neutralized. So let us now go to our next video, which will deal with training.
One way to perfect your technique in Pigar and Panigo in Tapado is by practicing solo and practicing it slowly. Now I will show you the solo practice of Tapado. When you practice solo, you use a relatively heavy stick in order to develop the muscular power and to be able to control the stick uh, more efficiently when delivering strong strikes. So here you can use a heavier stick because you don't have to strike fast. Now, by practicing solo with a heavier stick, what you get? One, there is no vibration from the stick of your partner, so it prevents injury. Another is you can practice it slowly and you can practice the forms and the different strikes of the paddle. So what you do? You just hold the stick this time, but instead of doing it with two hands, you use only one hand. Now, it is important when practicing solo is do not let your wrist to be limp. Don't do it like this. So, essentially, you just hold the stick and your hand and your arm are one. Okay? So they have one movement. So you just use the finger to hold the stick and you don't allow your wrist to go limp. Okay? So when you do the solo practice, yes, you start with that typical tapado stance and you still put it here. Now, I will show you first the strike one and its variation, and of course the strike two coming from this side and its variation. So for one, it's just up, down. See? My wrist doesn't go limp. Okay? So you make a loop and back, loop and back, loop and back. So this will make your hand strong. And this will also make your strike strong. And it will develop coordination with your body, your upper body, your lower body, and your striking hand. So this is how you do it. See? Even with a relatively heavy stick, it's quite easy to do. Because, when you allow your wrist to go limp, it will be painful here. If you do it like this, it's heavy. But if your hands and your arms are one, even a heavier stick seem light. Okay? Okay, now, so this is one, 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 and back, one, and back. I'm going to show you two. One and here. Now for two, when you strike this way and put it to the side. You put it on the side to be able to strike again. If you want, you can also do two and back, two and back. Then you go back to one, this. Okay. Then you go to two. So there is alternate now, one and two strikes. See? My hands are still relaxed, even with a heavy stick. Then after that, you do multiple directions. Okay? This will develop your skill to counter and defend yourself from multiple directions of attack. So, like for example, you're expecting an attack from this side. So all you have to do is just reposition your body and up. There, there. I'm all using one. There and there. Now I'll use two. There, there, or up, there, there. Remember all the time, never allow your wrist to go limp. Okay? So this is how you strengthen your hands in practicing Picard of Tapado. Now, so that there will be balance, because if you only use one hand, this hand will become bigger than the other hand. So you change again. You change your position. One, two, one and up, one and up, two. Again, never allow your wrist to go limp. Okay? Direction, front and up, front and back. So this becomes your one. Now this becomes your two. Okay? Never allow your wrist to go limp. Okay? So that is how you practice Tapado and Pigar without a partner. Okay?
So there you are. The practice of the solo actually will strengthen your hands. It will develop power. If you keep on practicing the solo, even by yourself, that is one benefit of it. You can practice by yourself. Essentially, you can practice strikes. You can master multiple direction defense with the solo. And it strengthens your hand. It develops your power. That's why if you keep on solo, I still remember my master sensei Mike, you he strikes his stick in Tapado, the strikes are really very deep and very heavy. It has that very heavy feeling in it. It's because of the solo strikes that he does. He says he practices it every day. I practice it every day, but not as long as he is. Maybe a practice of about 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That's good enough until the moves become instinctive. You'll find out if you keep on practicing the solo drills, you find out when you start, people will say, why is it that his strike is kind of heavy? Actually, that's your natural strike already. But when other people feel it, it feels heavy. It is difficult to block. So that is another drill, and that is the solo drill. Now, in solo drill, I would suggest you try to practice it with a heavier stick so that you develop your arms, your shoulders, and when you strike, your hand and your stick doesn't do like this. No, you don't do it like that. It should be stiff here, stiff. So it's like doing a hammer strike. So when you do it, do a hammer strike with a stick. Now, look at my hands there. See? I do it slowly. Again, be very careful. When doing solo practice, don't do it fast. Do it slow. Exercise with breathing, multiple directions. When you strike, look at my knees. I bend it when I strike. Now that gives it more reach. It gives your strike more power. Okay? Now again, look at me. I'm very relaxed while I'm practicing it, but that is a relatively heavy stick. Now for beginners, you may start with thinner sticks. Just try to compensate with the number of strikes. When you feel tired, stop. When the blisters, when you think your hands are beginning to feel hot because of the blisters, you stop. Because it's your body telling you it's time to stop. What's nice with the solo again? You can practice by yourself. You can do it slowly. You practice the form and you practice the function of the strikes. This is a very nice technique to follow. And in our next, you would it would be best if you follow our exercise in the next video, which is complement, which complements the solo practice. This time we'll use the dummy. Okay, so let's use the dummy now.
Hi, welcome back to First Strike. In our previous segment, we showed you how we train in Uhido. But again, in Tapado, it's a different thing because you are now using a longer and heavier stick. And a simple padding cannot hold itself against a heavy stick because definitely when you use Tapado, this heavy stick and its fast movement cannot just be stopped by a simple padding. So, here in Negros, we devised what we call a bamboo dummy. A bamboo dummy is a simple tool. It just consists of a big bamboo like this one, which is about 6 feet tall, and it has two arms. We call these arms, no? And this one is a horizontal arm, and this one is a slanted arm. It also has a bottom part, which represents the human body or the possible targets that you could possibly have when you're practicing stick fighting. Now, when you make a dummy, try to choose a young bamboo. It should be about 6 inches, 5 to 6 inches in diameter, so that it will have the necessary thickness. And for the arms, we call this here in Negros, the blind or bulag. Bulag the bamboo. Because if you notice, there is no space in the middle. We choose this kind of bamboo so that it can withstand the pressure of the Tapado stick. Okay? Same with the other side. This one here is the horizontal side. It's also a bulag. Now, if you go down here, we have a platform which holds the dummy steady so that it won't fall down, go forward or back, and it won't move a lot during striking. So this is what we call the dummy. Now if you notice, it has a straight part, a horizontal part, and a slanted part. Now, when you use a dummy, do not use the heavy Tapado sticks because your dummy won't block. Here in Negros, we usually do or we use the tula-tula or a small rattan stick. But here today, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to use this dummy. Now, in Tapado, remember, the strikes are very strong. No? See? Even the dummy is moving. But for our purpose for now, we'll just show you that Tapado moves. Now, when you strike, you do your Pigar here. Your Pigar. No? You do your Pigar here, and it stops, and you slide down. So that you hit the hands of your opponent. So I'll demonstrate to you how it's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in Tapado, this is what we call the Pigar. Now I will show you the equivalent of the lagis. In Tapado, we call it the pang-igo or the hitting part of the technique. Now, when you do Tapado, you stop first. Then, you hit. This is the pang-igo. From here, you can do various techniques. You can do a 1 and a follow-up, like this one, or you can do a 1 and a thrust. So you have many techniques that can follow your initial style. Same here, the horizontal. You do your Picard here, then you do your pang-igo. So, strike card here, and pang-igo. So it looks like this. Pigar, pang-igo. Pigar, pang-igo. So, Pigar is essentially an essential part of both Tapado and Ujido. That is the bread and butter technique of these styles, and it's very effective. It looks so simple to do, but it takes a lot of practice. Now, why do we use a dummy? We use a dummy because one problem among Ujedistas and Tapadistas here is that not so many students stick and study for long because of the pain. You could just imagine if you will be hit by this stick this big and you get it in the hands. Now, with the dummy, you can practice it all you want. You can practice the feel of the pigar and the pag-igo. You can practice the angling, and you can practice the natural moves of how it's usually done in a real fight. So, with this dummy, they say it's one-sided because the horizontal is in this case is on the right side. So if you want to practice on the other side, all you have to do is just change the position of the dummy to this. Now this time, you can practice it on the left side. So by just repositioning the dummy, you can practice both sides. So earlier, we demonstrated how it's done on the right side. Now I'll do it on the left. I'll start hitting from the side. This is number 2. See? So you just do it slowly. Like that. And you can add pang-igo. See? This time it's extended. We're already trying to hit the opponent. There. See? You have the pigar here, the pang-igo here, and the thrust there. Okay? 1, 3. See? If you notice, you can practice all you want. You can practice the right moves, the pace, and the feel. And with repetition, with constant practice, you will be able to master the moves. Now, horizontal. Same. Now, you can even practice it from the bottom. You know, sometimes there are strikes wherein your opponent will give you a horizontal strike like this one. Okay? Which is represented by this arm. So what do? You do this or you do that. Now, I'm demonstrating you a counter from below. Imagine this is the stick going in your direction. So, you do a kitiao. And here, see, again. 1. Okay? I'll do 2 moves. 1, 2. Pigar here, pang-igo there. Pigar, pang-igo. Pigar, pang-igo. 1 movement. 1, 2, 3. So, even with the dummy, you can see the power of Tapado. It is very, very difficult to practice without a tool like the dummy. Again, we will show you how to do it from below if your opponent is giving you an angular strike like this, represented by the stick. And you want to defend from under. Okay? Earlier, we showed you how to defend from above. Okay? I'll do it, defend it from above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? This time, with panigo and a thrust. Okay? Now, I will show you a tapado move wherein we defend from below. The Pigar is still there. The panigo is still there. I'll do it slowly. So, you do some kind of call it a pitiao, which is patterned from a Filipino game wherein they do this. So essentially, that's what you do. Just do a pitiao like that. Okay? Then you try to hit this one. Watch. Okay? I try to do it a little bit powerful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or, there might be even instances where you want to hit his stick at the lower part of the body and try to hit his leg. So ladies and gentlemen, here you can see the utility of the dummy. The dummy is a very good tool. I have many students in the university and they like using the dummy because they can practice their techniques, they can use full power, and it's not painful on the part of the practitioner and the receiver of the technique. So ladies and gentlemen, you saw this first and first strike, the bamboo dummy. I hope you try to follow and make one of these so that you can practice your ojido and tapado and your pigar, lagis, and panigo techniques.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the training of the Pigar, and I hope you're able to get all the principles of the Pigar. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very, very effective technique, and you can also incorporate it in your editing regardless of style. It is a very nice technique, and as you can see, as long as you take care, as long as you're careful, tapado is a relatively easy style of arnis, which any arnisador can incorporate in his system. If a short stick fighter, maybe now you can get the principles of Tapado here on First Strike, you can watch our videos and learn from us. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to express our condolence to our very good friend Randy Alvarado, who passed away last week. Sir Randy Alvarado was featured in one of our episodes, and he showed us and he shared with us his secrets on Yatay Sable. Sir Randy Alvarado is a teacher, he is a very good father, and definitely he worked a lot in bringing artists of Bago City into the limelight. He was able to take artists of Bago to another level wherein they've won many tournaments, they've had many championships under their belt, and he has a lot of very good students who is following his footsteps. Surely, Grandmaster Randy Alvarado will be missed, and I hope that his students and his friends will take care of the art that he left behind for all of us to follow. Sir Randy Alvarado, until we meet again, mag-arnis tayo. And of course, coming from our APN network, the First Strike again, before we end, we would like to thank our sponsors, the staff of APN network, and I hope you will learn more from our presentations here in First Strike. Again, watch more of our techniques and our styles here in First Strike, and we'll be seeing you next time. Until then, this is your host, Ferdinand Bobot Gayoles, saying goodbye. As usual, sabi natin, mag-anis tayo. Bye-bye. I'll see you again next week.